313 diesel guy here. Stopped cruising around in my truck, and figured today would probably be a good day to, let people actually hear the truck, hear the turbo, and all the other stuff. Yeah, I've got no life. It's Christmas Eve and I'm out just driving around. Which, by the way, Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy New Year's. So yeah, without further delay, I would like people to actually hear, what the turbo sounds like on this truck, what the exhaust sounds like on this truck. It's pretty distinct sounding for a 7.3, I will say that much. So, without further ado, window up. Well, let's do it with the window down. So, like I said, for 7.3, the turbo is definitely loud. The exhaust is better. But here we go. Boost numbers aren't nothing to sneeze at. Boost numbers are pretty strong. In the tow tune, I'm hitting, 30 pounds. I can hit 35 if I'd like to, if I bump up to a more aggressive tune. So, but actually I'll hit a main street here so y'all can hear and see the boost numbers actually climb. I could probably do it right here. That was just a light pull. I will say this much, I kind of laugh when people go to run their diesels, and especially when they're racing it. I'm noticing that quite a few guys out here don't, pre-boost or build boost first. What I mean by that is these trucks coming off the line at 0 pounds of boost, even with a modified turbo, yeah, they'll build boost quickly, but not per se if I left at 5 pounds of boost. And wow, that's a gray hair from hell. Holy hell. Yeah, ADD just kicked my ass. I just noticed that really gray hair. Yeah, holiday season has fucked me this year. Sorry, excuse my English. But I've done quite a bit of practice launches with this truck, and figuring out what RPM and what boost is primed to leave the line with on this truck. And with my setup, I found that anywhere between 5 and 8 pounds of boost, she launches really good, really strong. But anything more than 8, and I mean even at 6 pounds of boost, I'm still having problems hooking. But not per se if I left at like 10. If I leave at 10 pounds of boost, that's all I do is I spin. But if I leave at 5 pounds of boost, she'll spin for a little bit, but the boost comes right up, versus coming from a dead stop. So, a little bit of advice to anybody out there that doesn't know much about turbos or just doesn't know much about diesels. If you're going to run somebody, build boost from the stop first. Don't ever leave at 0 pounds of boost. You'll lose quite a bit of time. Matter of fact, I found out this past fall that at Milan Dragway, me leaving with no boost versus me leaving on 5 pounds of boost literally was almost an entire second difference in my ET. That's how big of a difference it makes. I really never thought it would make that much of a difference, but it did. So right now I'm sitting here at a red light waiting to go out on Telegraph, where I will once again show the boost, and now I'm running a little bit more aggressive tune, and I'll show the boost numbers again, and then I'll explain everything I have done to my turbo, which really, and I mean really, is not much. So, all right, we'll get it clearing here in a second. All right, without further ado, here we go. Forgot I had overdrive off. Ooh. That could have ended badly. But anyway, maybe I'll get stopped at a red light too and I can show a boosted launch. Am I gonna get, yep, cool, I'm getting stopped at a red light. So I'm not gonna lie, I just had overdrive off, which definitely, you know, impeded my top end run there. But as you've seen, I was at 90 mile an hour real quick. The truck runs good, it pulls hard, it pulls strong. I've got no complaints. So again, we'll do it overdrive off, build a little boost. No slouch. At damn near 10,000 pounds for a truck, it's no slouch. And which, by the way, I actually had to let off of building boost for a second because I noticed she started to spin. And then I tried to launch at about 5. So, shut the window here. Turn the tune down. But again, previous videos I say, you know, a little bit of what's done to the truck. You know, I've got a Hydra PHP tuner in it with slightly modified tunes for the trans. I'm running a Chuck Dorsey Stage 1 trans. The turbo, I literally only have a Wicked Wheel 2 in it. That is all I have done to the turbo. I still have my exhaust back pressure valve. I still have the, you know, stock pedestal, and I take pride with my exhaust back pressure valve works, by the way, and it works properly. Of course, I maintain it, you know, just like anything else. If you don't maintain it, it don't work right. I have, again, the Hutch and Harpoon mod. I have the 86 Industries fuel pressure return spring off the fuel bowl. There's that plunger inside of the fuel bowl for the fuel filter. I have removed that. I have a 4-inch Flow Pro exhaust. I have a, I guess you could call it a cold air intake, but it's questionable. I think if I were to change the filter on it, I'd get a little bit more. I'm trying to think, what else do I have done to the truck? I have a homemade boost fooler, which again, I only paid like $5 for mine. I went to Harbor Freight, bought an air pressure regulator, and plugged it into my compressor and set it at 21.5 pounds, so the map sensor would only see 21.5 pounds. You know, people are spending money on these, you know, $60, $70, $80 boost coolers when just go to Harbor Freight and buy an air pressure regulator. It works great, as you all can see. No overboost code, no nothing like that. So, I'm trying to think anything else I have done. Really, that's off the top of my head. That's really all I've got done to the truck. Not really anything. I mean, I'm running stock sticks, stock turbo for the most part, other than the Wicked Wheel 2. But this thing runs very strong. Now, I will say, just like any vehicle that runs adaptive strategy, one of the first things I did to it when I first got it was I unplugged the battery for a day, or batteries, and then plugged them back in, started the truck, let it warm up, and then I went and beat the shit out of it. And I did that because at that point in time, with adaptive strategy, it learns how you drive the vehicle and adjusts to it. So if the vehicle is used to, just putzing around town and stuff like that, yeah, the parameters are going to be adjusted, via the computer and adaptive strategy for light foot, just cruising. Now, if you hot foot it and everything else, it's going to adapt its strategy to exactly that. And I can tell you right now, if I were to take two identical trucks, bone stock, with adaptive strategy, unplug both batteries for a night, and turn around, come in the next day, plug the batteries back in, and just kind of gingerly drive one, and then beat the snot out of the other one, and then go run them in a quarter mile, I can guarantee you that the one that I beat the snot out of will be faster. Again, with the adaptive strategy, that's a whole nother ball game. But again, all depends on how you drive. So, you all see my gauges. I've got an EGT gauge, which, as far as I'm concerned, is mandatory in these, just like a trans temp, just like a boost gauge. If you are going to run gauges, those would be the main three I would start off with, is a boost gauge, a trans temp, and EGT. Because believe it or not, a boost gauge and an EGT gauge will tell you quite a bit about your truck. If it ain't running right, pay attention to the boost gauge. Are you building the right amount of boost? Oh, you're not? Then you more or less have a boost leak, okay? Truck's not running right, boost numbers are fine, but EGTs are off. They're running high. Okay, that tells me you probably have an injector stuck open. Or if the EGTs are low, that means you probably have an injector that's not firing. Because then at that point, it's just a gigantic air compressor. And all you're doing is puffing air. Okay, if your boost numbers are low and your EGTs are high, that tells me once again you have a boost leak. With boost leaks, if you have boost leaks in certain areas, boost numbers will be low, but EGTs will be high. Again, those two gauges will tell you a lot about your truck, especially if you use your truck like I do when it comes to towing and stuff like that. I use my truck quite frequently. I tow, 15,000 pounds pretty much daily with this thing. And that's one of the other reasons why I really don't want to build it too much, because then I'm going to take reliability out of it. I'm kind of borderlining that now. So, yeah, that's really a trans temp gauge. If you're running a 4R100, yep, you need it. The reason I say that is, I run the Chuck Dorsey Stage 2 trans, but before I ran the Chuck Dorsey, I had the stock 4R100, and I knew it was going to go before it started acting up. And the reason why is because I noticed my trans temps, were increasing more and more. It used to be that I was hitting 180 going down the freeway at 70 mile an hour towing my trailer. Well, then a couple of weeks later, same trailer, 10 degrees colder outside, and I'm hitting 190, and then 195, and then 200. And, trans fluid's fine. It's not burnt yet. Trans had 120,000 miles on it. So, like I said, again, I knew that the clutches were starting to slip inside and stuff like that before it started really showing itself. So, again, trans temp. And to me, that's a mandatory gauge. Fuel pressure, not so much mandatory. Oil pressure, not really mandatory. And the reason why I say that for the oil pressure is because if you're running low on oil pressure, you'll know it without needing it, or without having a gauge. If you have no low oil pressure, that means your truck ain't going to run, because then there's no high oil pressure. Now, if you have no high oil pressure but low, the truck will go into a limp mode. Then again, you'll know it. You can't mistake limp mode in these things when they're running on, low oil pressure. You can't mistake it. It's basically the same symptoms as the ICP sensor going bad. It doesn't sound right, it doesn't run right, it doesn't idle right, it doesn't do anything right. But anyway, that's my clip for the day. So it's been a while since I've made one. But anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm at home. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna have fun with my kid today. So all right, 313 Diesel guy out. God bless. Merry Christmas.